2 weeks ago, the state of California sued Activision Blizzard, one of the biggest gaming publishers in the world, for allegedly breaking the law by discriminating against women and creating an environment where women were constantly sexually harassed at work. In the days since, there have been a ton of responses to this news, from Blizzard employees walking out on the job in protest to Blizzard's president leaving the company. So let's break down everything that happened in the last week. So if you're here, you probably already know what happened in the last few weeks, but in case you didn't, the state of California is suing Activision Blizzard for creating what the lawsuit alleges was frat house culture at the company. Basically, the lawsuit alleges that Activision Blizzard leadership allowed women to be discriminated against and to be sexually harassed or assaulted at work. A lot of people weren't exactly happy with Activision Blizzard following news of the lawsuit breaking. Last time on the show, we talked about how women who worked at Activision Blizzard were coming forward on Twitter with stories about how they had been assaulted or harassed while working at the company, and about how fans were doing things like canceling WoW subscriptions en masse. But the protests got a lot bigger. And then, earlier this week, Blizzard president J. Allen Brack left the company. After thousands of employees signed a letter calling Activision Blizzard's response to the lawsuit abhorrent and insulting, they scheduled a walkout. Now, to be clear, this wasn't a strike. The difference being that while the Activision employees did have demands, what they weren't saying is that they wouldn't go back to work unless those demands were met. And to be clear, as of filming, those demands have not been met, at least not publicly. On July 27th, the Activision Blizzard Walkout for Equality saw dozens of people walk out on Blizzard's campus in California. Their demands were an end to mandatory arbitration clauses in contracts, reforming the hiring and promotion policies to improve representation at all levels, publishing data on relative compensation to ensure fair payment, and to create a company-wide DEI task force that can hire a third party to audit Activision Blizzard's HR and executive staff. Plenty of folks in the games industry showed their support for the workers who walked out and demonstrated, and even Ubisoft employees published a letter in support of them, demanding fair treatment across the entire industry, as reported by Axios reporter Stephen Totillo. So on July 28th, in response to the walkout, Activision Blizzard CEO Bobby Kotick made a statement in which he promised things were going to change at the company. But the very next day, Activision Blizzard hired the law firm WilmerHale to review their HR policies, which, as Kotaku's Mike Fahey pointed out, was most recently in the news for their work trying to prevent Amazon employees from unionizing. Now, while it is pretty common to have an outside firm review HR policies when you have a situation like this, a lot of people saw this move as a slap in the face to concerned employees, both because of WilmerHale's history of union busting, and also because the employees weren't consulted about this hiring at all. To be clear, a move like this can be made with the best of intentions, but when the party being sued is hiring lawyers for mediation and review without consulting the people who wanted that mediation review, you can see how it looks pretty f***ing bad. On August 3rd, Activision Blizzard employees who have organized calling themselves the ABK Workers Alliance sent out another letter in response to both Kotick's comments and to the hiring of WilmerHale. The letter states that Activision Blizzard employees didn't find that Kotick's response addressed their concerns. It also says that the hiring of WilmerHale is both a conflict of interest and doesn't represent the employees' best interests. In response to our demands, you wrote a letter to employees expressing a commitment to doing a better job of listening. You said you would do everything possible to work with employees in improving our workplace. And yet, the solutions you proposed in that letter did not meaningfully address our requests. You ignored our call for an end to mandatory arbitration. You did not commit to adopting inclusive recruitment and hiring practices. You made no comment on pay transparency. Essentially, Activision Blizzard employees feel that not only is the company not listening to their demands, they're actively working against them. And then, just a few hours after that letter was published, Blizzard president J. Allen Brack stepped down from his role at the company. Brack is being replaced by Jen O'Neill and Mike Ibarra, who will be the co-heads of Blizzard going forward. In a statement, Brack said, "I am confident that Jen O'Neill and Mike Ibarra will provide the leadership Blizzard needs to realize its full potential and will accelerate the pace of change. I anticipate they will do so with passion and enthusiasm, and that they can be trusted to lead with the highest level of integrity and commitment to the components of our culture that make Blizzard so special." Brack leaving is a huge deal. He was with the company for a long time, since 2005, and has been president since Mike Morhaime left in 2018. But many have criticized Brack's departure by suggesting that it's something of a smokescreen. While Brack may or may not have been directly responsible for the culture of harassment and discrimination at the company, Activision Blizzard employees never asked for his or anyone else's resignation. All they wanted was more transparency and a seat at the table when it came to discussing inclusion and safety in the workplace. But Brack was not the only person who left Blizzard this week. On August 3rd, Bloomberg's Jason Schreier reported that Jesse Meschuk, Blizzard's senior people officer and top HR rep, left the company as well. This departure wasn't seen as terribly surprising, given the allegations in the lawsuit that HR wasn't trusted within the company, and a follow-up report from Axios' Megan Farouk-Manesh about how HR would defend known abusers and did not keep reports confidential. Farouk-Manesh's report was far from the only one to come out following the lawsuit. There has been a lot of reporting in the last couple of days that are uncovering some pretty disturbing stories from Activision Blizzard. Vice's Lorenzo Franceschi Biciarai reported on the time a Blizzard employee at a recruiting conference asked a woman about the last time she was penetrated. And Kotaku's Ethan Gatch reported on the truth behind the Cosby Suite, a hotel room used by Blizzard employees during BlizzCon to drink and network, which featured a literal photo of Bill Cosby, as photos posted by former Blizzard employees and obtained by Kotaku show. The lawsuit alleges that the Cosby Suite was former WoW senior creative director Alex Afrasiabi's room at BlizzCon, and since he was allegedly a known abuser and harasser, his room was nicknamed the Cosby Suite after alleged rapist Bill Cosby. Since Kotaku's report came out, former Blizzard developer and current Riot employee Greg Street has alleged that the Cosby Suite was a break room, and that was nicknamed as such because of an inside joke, and that he is now embarrassed by the nickname. Kotaku also reported that Activision Blizzard's executive vice president and former George W. Bush administration member Fran Townsend went on a Twitter blocking spree after she was criticized for insensitive comments following the lawsuit. Dexerdo's Theo Salon reported that T-Mobile has seemingly pulled out of their Overwatch League and Call of Duty League sponsorships. While neither T-Mobile or Blizzard made any statements, it's not hard to imagine that this could have been a result of the lawsuit. Then, on August 3rd, Activision Blizzard had their quarterly investor relations call, which was criticized by basically everybody listening as being extraordinarily tone deaf, as it focused more on upcoming game launches than addressing any of these alleged issues at the company. And finally, also on August 3rd, Activision Blizzard shareholders filed a class action lawsuit against Activision Blizzard for not disclosing information about harassment complaints at the company and investigations into the company with regards to discrimination. Of course, don't get too excited about the shareholders coming to save the day. They mostly only care about the money. As Ars Technica's Kyle Orland points out, the shareholders are concerned because withholding this info led to a quote, artificially inflated share price. Basically, Activision Blizzard stock dropped from $90 to $84 on the day the news of the lawsuit broke, and has dropped as low as $79 in the days since. So Activision Blizzard shareholders feel like they're entitled to damages because they think the company lied to them about how stable the company was. Which brings us to today, because this story is far from over. Activision Blizzard employees' demands have still not been met. Activision Blizzard is hiring a union-busting law firm to run damage control, and now we have 2 lawsuits to settle. But here, while we have a lull in the action, I want to take a moment to say that the mountain of allegations about the culture at Activision Blizzard and the behavior of the staff at the company is overwhelming. I'd like to think that it's not controversial to say that nobody should ever be made to feel unsafe at work, and that nobody should ever be paid less because of their gender or the color of their skin. My point is that the Activision Blizzard employees' demands are reasonable. And I really do hope Activision Blizzard listens, because I want to see some real reform in the games industry. Unfortunately, given Activision Blizzard's response over the last week, I find that really unlikely. Instead, I think this story is just going to keep going, at least until Activision Blizzard loses a lawsuit or has to pay out the victims.